Welcome everyone. My name is Anka Novakovic and I'm here with Eco Coach. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about why I think small businesses are really well positioned to implement sustainability. And this is one of the conversations that I have and I've been having really often is a lot of smaller businesses think because they don't have the time or because it might cost some money, sustainability isn't for them. But what I believe and what I have seen is that small businesses can make the most of what they have, and it doesn't have to be overly costly, and it can be part of their business ethos. And so what I wanted to do is to kind of cover three ways that smaller businesses have an advantage over large businesses. Of course, larger businesses can throw money at anything, and they can throw money at sustainability, and then they can just implement whatever project that they want with however many people that they need. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but this kind of gives you an idea. Smaller businesses are more resource constrained, they're time constrained, they have to prioritize, and that makes sense. And so there are three reasons that I kind of wanted to highlight that small businesses are better suited for implementing, or are really well suited for implementing sustainability. And these may fall in different buckets for different people, so just might use other words for them, but really the first one is that they are nimble. They are able to change direction. Because you're smaller, you don't have as much of a hierarchy. You are able to change direction. You can go to your colleague who may be your boss and who may be your partner in the business and say, what do you think about this idea? Okay, great. It makes business sense. Let's go with it, right? So it doesn't take as much time and you don't have as much red tape to kind of go through and change direction. The second reason that I think smaller businesses are great about doing this is that they are closer, they're more connected with their customers, typically, right? If you're a small business, most likely you know who your return customers are, your recurring customers, even if you don't necessarily see them. If you have people who purchase products or purchase your services on an ongoing basis, you're going to recognize who those people are, and you typically are going to connect, try to have a relationship with them. And of course, once people feel connected, once they feel that sense of community, they're also more likely to refer you to others and to promote your business. So that's a huge plus. And then the third way that I think businesses are better suited, small businesses are better suited, is speed, right? That goes hand in hand sometimes with nimbleness. But you can bring a product to market much more quickly than you would in a larger organization. And we're going to talk about this. I'm going to show you three examples of how you can do this, or of three companies that have done this. And kind of we're going to go through each of these examples. One company that was really nimble, another one that was really connected with their customers, and then another one who was speed and was able to respond to the market quickly. So speed, right? You are able to respond. You're able, if there's some sort of issue, if there's a customer dissatisfaction, you're more likely to be there and to respond. So let's kind of go through, I can keep talking about that theoretically. And as I said, there are different ways of looking into this, of looking at it, and different words that you can use. But basically the idea is that, as a smaller business, you are able to implement sustainability and you are able to be really successful. And so, definitely I would encourage you to think about that. So here's an example. Innocent Drinks out of the UK got started in 1999, and they're an example, I believe, of nimbleness. And they started in 1999. They make smoothies, they make different drinks, they kind of expanded their line. And in about 2010, they figured out that one of their suppliers who provided them with strawberries in the south of Spain was having some issues with water. And so I'm going to actually read exactly what's happening. They're basically engaging in unsustainable water practices. There's the Doñana National Park, which is southwest of Seville, which is a World Heritage Site, which supported millions of migratory birds, and it's also the stronghold of the endangered Iberian lynx, right? And the strawberry farms nearby were sucking the land dry to the point where most of Spain's strawberry industry is located there, and to the point where it was not going to no longer be a national heritage site, which it was, that park was. So Innocent Drinks looked at that, and instead of saying, you know, we're going to go with another supplier, which as a small business they very much could have done, they said, you know what, we want to help you. And so what they did is they looked, they spent about 3 years doing a water footprint, figuring out how much water is being used. They worked with Unilever to do that, who also had suppliers in that area. And with that, they created an app called Irrefresa. I believe that is the name. I want to make sure I'm not butchering it. Yes. So it calculates optimal irrigation times, and in 2015 they came up with that, and when the farmers started using that, they were able to save about 40% of the water consumption that they were using for their strawberries. And so this is a fantastic example where you have a company that is smaller and that is able to be nimble enough to say, you know what, this may not be exactly within, it's not one of the products that we would offer, right? And if it were a larger company, they may look at it as like, hey, this could be a risk to our brand because our brand is drinks, is healthy drinks. But what Innocent Drinks did was they looked at this and said, you know what, this is what we believe in. We believe in supporting our suppliers, and we believe in promoting, you know, and supporting the environment and promoting health and supporting the community. And so they went ahead and did it. And just on a side note, Innocent Drinks was bought by Coca-Cola in 2013, but they definitely state that they can still operate independently. And in 2015, when they came out with the app, that was after they had been bought with Coca-Cola. And since then, they've looked and they've spoken with larger companies to use that app so that it can be used to reduce water in that area and potentially somewhere else. So that's a great example right then and there of a company that was nimble. It went ahead and took initiative and was able to help farmers, it was able to help its suppliers, it's able to help migratory birds, and ideally also have others use the app. So that's the first example. The second example of connectedness is the East End Market, which is an Orlando, Florida company. So the first one was in the UK. And we're gonna go through to 3 different countries today. So the second one is in Orlando, and there are 4 employees, and basically it's a complex where you have a restaurant, you have an incubator kitchen, you have retailers and merchants, and you have a whole kind of like foodie haven, the way I would call it. I look at it, and the idea behind that was the owner and the founder looked at that and said, you know what, there are some ways that we want to connect and offer good food, and we want to offer different experiences to our clientele. And so what they're doing as a result, they're connected to their clientele, they're connected to the urbanites and the foodies. And you know, I've talked in other Facebook Lives about the LOHAS movement, the lifestyles of health and sustainability, and that is, you know, 1 in 4 adult Americans are part of that. They care about their health, they care about sustainability, and this complex and the owner realized that this is something that their customers cared about, and so they went ahead and they implemented sustainable practices as well. And you know, he's very clear to state that profits matter and that he's doing this because he also cares about people and the planet. And at the same time, obviously you have millennials, you have the LOHAS, he also knows that the urbanites and the foodies are more likely to care about these things as well, and are more likely to patronize a organization and a restaurant concept or a food concept that has those things available and that is doing those things. So that's the second example. And then, so we went through nimble, we went through connected, and now we're going to go through speed. And the third company is a Canadian company. It's a high-end office furniture manufacturing company. They actually have, I believe, about 500 square feet and 400 plus employees, so they're on the bigger side. And in 2008, they figured out that their customers were asking for sustainable products, and they didn't have any. And you know, if you're familiar kind of with the sustainability movement and kind of with the green movement, or when companies were asking about or when clients or customers are asking about things being eco-friendly, that was really early on, right? So they were able to look at that and say, you know what? Our clients are asking us for something that we don't have. We can stay ahead of the competition if we do this, and we can obviously give them what we want. So what they did is they started with their carbon footprint, and I'm kind of referring to my notes here because I want to make sure I'm getting the right information for them. They integrated sustainability into their sales presentations. They integrated it into their training. That led to new product design, and then they identified alternative materials. So they were able to reduce some emissions, and they were able to improve efficiency. So here is another example where sustainability is something that if you incorporate, doesn't just have to do with kind of being a tree hugger and helping the planet. It has to do with making sense for your business. It has to do with being more efficient. It has to do with staying competitive. They also they invested $7 million over a 3-year period in more efficient production equipment. So again, that was to be more sustainable, to reduce their carbon footprint, and also to stay ahead of the competition. So in all of those 3 examples, what you're looking at is smaller businesses, right? And it depends, the definition of smaller businesses varies. So we have one organization, one company that is 4 people. We have at the other end of the spectrum of the examples that I gave, we have another one that's 400. But what they've done is they've capitalized on sustainability. They've actually taken that opportunity and they have made the most of it in order to be able to attract new clients, to become more efficient, and to stay competitive. And so those are some examples that I really encourage you to kind of think about the kind of how can you take what you have right now and the market input for your business and become more eco-friendly, more green. And of course, definitely check out our blogs. I have a blog that kind of goes along with this on the EcoCoach website. So it's www.eco-coach.com. I encourage you to go there. Also on the homepage, I have a free sustainability checklist that you can download so that if you want to get started on sustainability, or if you want to figure out where exactly you stand right now around sustainability and then figure out what potential steps you can take, that is a starter checklist that will help you kind of get started. All right, so have a fantastic day, and here's to your sustainability success.